Alrighty, folks, are you ready for this? Are you ready to rock? Because I am. I so am. I'm so pumped. Let me pop over here so y'all can see me. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I am going to be your host this morning for yet another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. We're going to be working with neural filters today. We're going to be diving into some neural filter goodness. We're going to be using the Colorize to work with some black and white photos, but if you've never used neural filters before, there's actually a lot of really awesome ones available to you. So if you dive in there and check out the ones we're using for today, you might actually come back and kind of noodle around, experiment a little bit with a bunch of different kinds. So without further ado, I'm going to pop over to my starter file for the day. And if you would like to download the starter file and work along with me today, check out the description below, snag that link, and your file will look a little something like this. Let me pop over here. Neural filters. Use neural filters to color black and white photos, experiment with selection tools and masks to isolate subjects, and make your project stand out with color. So we're going to be colorizing photos. We're also going to be selecting portions of photos and colorizing individual subjects, which I think is kind of a cool thing to be able to do with the neural filters. I see so many familiar faces in chat. I see Michael, too old to rock, but I'll roll. Hey, you're never too old to rock, my friend. Welcome in, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us. Carol Pearl, Oliver Andrews, Sam Peterson, the one and only. Marcia, welcome in. It's good to see you. Anki, my friend, welcome back. Sean, Jennifer, hello, hello, hello. All right, let's kind of dive into everything. Hey, Cody. Hey, Ted. So we're going to be working with a photo, which if you download the starter file, I actually have pre-added in the stock number for you folks today. So this is the stock number for the image I'm going to be working with if you would like to download it for yourself and work with the same photo. It is from the free section of Adobe Stock. And so you can download it, you can license it, add it to your libraries, and get the full licensed high quality image without purchasing stock credits or purchasing the license for the image. I know, Sam's here, yes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hide. No, I'll leave that up. I'll leave that up for now because I want to make sure that you folks get it. I'm going to go ahead and open my photo, which I have kind of added in here. So I'm going to leave the number up there for you folks. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to Control-Shift-In or Command-Shift-In if you're working on a Mac. And I'm going to paint bucket in just a darker color back here so we are not distracted by the textures and background. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off these layers here so that we can just work with our wonderful photo. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to pop this down here. And what I want to do, first of all, is to just do a quick once over with the neural filter because I want to show you what Colorize actually is. So we're going to come up here to Filter, and you can open up neural filters, and there are a lot of different things that you can experiment with in here. As I said, you can do skin smoothing, smart portrait, makeup transfer, the landscape mixer, style transfer, harmonize, color transfer, colorize, which we will be using today. And there's just a lot of really awesome things that you can do. But what we are going to jump into, as I said, is Colorize. And when you dive into using a neural filter, make sure that you actually have it downloaded. So if you've never used Colorize before, it might be grayed out where you can't click it and use it. Please make sure you hit that download button. And then when you go to use it after the download, just go ahead and toggle it on. Toggling it on will actually open it up, and you can see it actually did it right there. So we've got our black and white version, and when we toggle it on, it colors it for us. It kind of reads what exactly is in there, what we're looking at, and gives you kind of an I've got the auto color image checked in there. Now, when it comes to all of the settings and stuff, it is really, really fun to noodle around in here. We can come over into the different profiles and we can set different profiles. So if we want to do like a retro green, we can do a retro green. It kind of has that aged filter over the top of it, which can be cool sometimes. Retro high contrast, which actually is kind of interesting, if a little dark for my taste. But I'm going to go to none, and I'm just going to play with the saturation and stuff that we have here. So I am going to, if we bump up the saturation, just kind of see what we get. I think that's a little too much. I'm just gonna, you know, because I don't want it to look like a vintage aged photo, but I do want it to not be so bright that it's like difficult to look at it. So we can turn the saturation up a little bit, and really depending on the image that you're using, you can choose to kind of color grade or mess with the colors however you like. So I just want to see, oops, there we go. I just want to see what kind of colors we can get if I start bumping up that red. It does kind of add a little bit of red into our subject, but I feel like the more red we add, the more this image in particular starts to look like it's just red and green, which kind of, I don't know, doesn't really work for me. So we can add that red, I think, as long as we come in and start messing with other colors. I wonder if the magenta, I think the magenta is a little too, kind of plays into that vibe we don't want. Maybe bring the red down just a little bit, just so that we have like kind of an array of colors. We can also come in and alter the color artifact reduction. We can do a noise reduction, just to kind of tweak it depending on, like, this photo I think maybe doesn't really need it so much, but if you're using a different photo, you might really want to alter those settings. You can output this in different ways too. So if I go ahead and hit OK, this is going to create a completely brand new layer for me. That is just a color layer, like a layer with all of these colors on, set to the blending mode color, so that I can toggle it on and off. I personally would like to output it to its own colored photo layer, so I'm not going to check this box, but if you would like to output just as a test, we can do this. You can see it creates a layer that is just those colors that you can toggle on and off with the blending mode, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be its own layer, and then you can kind of change this here, new layer that is masked. You can output as a smart filter or a new document altogether, but we're just going to do new layer. So I am going to go ahead and say okay. Yes, yes. Saya Luna, if you do a realistic drawing in black and white, is NeuroFilter going to work on it? You know what? On the fly today, I'm going to demonstrate that for you. That is an excellent point. I would love to be able to show you folks that. And I have a lot of artwork in black and white, so I'm just going to make sure I have something that I can pull up. I'll do that for you, Saya Luna, so that you can see how that works. Let me grab this and I will pull in a painting of mine. I think probably here. There we go. Yeah, I've got an image we can use. All right, so we've created our image here that has all of our colors set. And what you can also do to this, because this is like in my layers here, now you can see I've got just a version of this that is on a color layer. One thing that is really cool to do with the neural filters, though, is to isolate a subject, isolate the focus of the image to draw attention to something important, to make the image a little more impactful. So something I like to do when I use the Colorize is just to select a certain subject, and I feel like this is a beautiful family, and the parents are looking at the baby, and maybe we want to just highlight this child and have the child in color and the rest in black and white. So what we can do actually is come over to the selection settings. You could use object selection depending on what your piece is. I don't think object selection is going to work that well with this. Like it gives us, you can see it starts to highlight different portions of our image here, and this is a little messy, so I probably won't use this. You could maybe try to use magic wand tool depending on what is right for you. If I hold shift, I can continue to add to that selection, but it really is not not ideal. So what we're going to do actually is either subject select or select and mask. So we could hit subject select and see what we get. It kind of selects our entire family here, which might actually be kind of an interesting thing to do if we wanted to just do the family. Something that I want to test out real quick. I just want to try and see if this is something that I can do. I don't know if this is possible, but just for the sake of experimentation, I want to see if I can. If I do a selection, a quick selection, then it's kind of annoying. But I wonder if we do a subject selection. If we do subject select and we highlight our our main family, I wonder if we can come into select and mask then and then start masking out portions of the subject that we didn't want. We could also probably because one thing that did actually not work so bad is using the object selection. I wonder if we could use object selection to select our wee baby here, and then do select and mask because it's got a little bit less, and then come in and then just add and subtract to it. So I want to go ahead and let me hold Alt, and I'm just going to come in and kind of paint out the things that I don't feel we need here. I definitely want to add in the baby's hands. I do not want the fingers. And it kind of smart selects it, you know, so I'm just kind of dragging through this pretty easily. And it does get a little bit messy, but it really is ideal. So this is especially great if you are using a mouse and you need to select some things, but you need it to be really clean, but you don't have a stylus. I think this is a really good option because it is, I'm just dragging a line through it and it is very quickly kind of smart selecting the things that are available to me here. So I'm going to go ahead, let's subtract and kind of get that out of there. There we go. I'm not going to be too terribly precious with this because I do, yeah, see, look, I just drag a line through it and it starts to kind of detect like that whole hand, like maybe this whole thing is what you want out of the image. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to be too terribly precious with it because I definitely want to get into some other ways that we can utilize this to our advantage, but I do want to see how accurate we can get just by kind of running through it as best we can. So let's go ahead and I want to add that. You will notice, like, as you can see, when I add to like the thumb here, sometimes it'll auto add a little more to the shirt, and then I just hold Alt to subtract, or excuse me, actually it's already on addition. I want to make sure to just drag through that and hold Alt to remove things from the mask. But you can see it does, that's actually mom's leg. I don't want to add mom's leg. But you can see that you do have to noodle with it just a little bit to add and subtract to it. But it really, you know, it's really not so bad. I think it really does give us a pretty good selection. Let's make sure we get baby's arm here. Make sure that the leg in the background there is good. I think that is actually not so bad. Let me make sure that dad's foot is not added to our selection, and I might add just a tiny bit here because I think that's also baby hair right there. So now we have this selected and masked. I want to make sure that this, there we go, that was added. So now we have our baby, our wee baby. And what I may do actually is go ahead and hit OK. Also, just, you know, as a side point, you can jump in and kind of change the opacity of the actual mask so that you can really see. In fact, that's actually good that I did that because I can see here that there are some points that I definitely want to edit. Maybe I won't worry about that so much. right now though. I mean, but just for your reference, you can come in here because there are little portions that are selected. I just don't want to go through and alter our mask anymore. But you can come in and definitely change these things. Typically, honestly, when you see a mask, you see it as red, so you could change it to a color that you prefer. Lots and lots of different things that you can do. The radius of the edge of the selection, whatever is right for your project, and we'll go ahead and say okay. So now I have this selected, and what I'm going to do is duplicate that layer, and my little window popped over on the other monitor, but we'll say okay, and then I'm going to just hit my mask button. So now you can see if I hide this duplication, you can see that it does mask out, and we've still got our crazy little artifacts here, but that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to colorize little baby here. So let's come over and go to filter, and why can't I? Let me go ahead and turn this to a smart object. Let's go ahead and go to neural filters. I'll move this over so we can see the sweet baby. We'll come over to colorize, and baby's colorized. I like it. We could maybe add a little more. What if we add a little more green? Yeah, there we go, just to give, you know, kind of a nice warm brown. And you can see how if I go ahead and press OK, we won't be too crazy with this, but you can see how we can highlight something as a subject in an image with Colorize, because maybe this is a promotional piece for a company about baby health or something, so you could, you know, imagine that there would be text, you know, on the side. We can actually even, I mean, this text isn't going to be related, but we could turn this on and bring this over. Let's go ahead and bring this up here, hit T on my keyboard, and maybe we bump this over and add a little bit of text here. I don't know if, I don't think white would work. I wonder if we should add black. No, maybe white. Maybe white. And then we could come in with our brush and do a little something in the corner here. If I want to grab like my soft round brush, soft round, on black, we can kind of darken. Let me go ahead and select this. We can come in and kind of darken, set to, I want to set that to dissolve. Maybe I don't want to set that to dissolve. We could kind of come and darken behind the text just a little bit. In fact, maybe we put this behind baby, so baby really pops out. You know, you can see how you can like use that to really make some cool stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this though, because we had a question about, can you use neural filters to colorize a black and white painting? And yes, indeed, you absolutely can. So I'm going to grab this painting that I painted. This is an original character of mine. He is called King of the Midnight Court, and I painted him in black and white. I think there's a little bit of color here that I've added, but this is a painting that I did some time ago, and we will make him a little larger and just put him at the forefront. And let's go ahead and colorize this as well. So let's come up to filters, and we'll go to neural filters, and let's see what happens when we colorize him. Why? Oh, I gotta turn it on. Make sure you toggle it on. Oh, it's so cool. So yeah, I have painted something in black and white, and it has detected, and it has created a version of it that is in color. It has definitely made him blonde. I think technically this character, I intended for his hair to be a little more golden, but it's cool. They put some pink around his mouth, and I think that maybe depending on how stylized your piece is when you do an illustration, is probably how accurate it is going to detect like a face or an animal or something and then colorize it appropriately. So definitely keep that in mind. But this is actually pretty cool, and you can do the same thing with all of this. So if I want to make this more saturated, I can. I think maybe I want to take the saturation down just a little bit, and I wonder what happens if we add a little bit of like bluish green tint, maybe even more blue. I kind of like that. Let's add some purple. Very neat. Maybe more green. I don't like the green. The green is a no from me. I wonder what happens if we add more yellow. Kind of makes him, you know, look a little more natural, I think. And the red is a little too much. So maybe some of that cyan with a little bit of that yellow. Maybe a tad. No, I don't like the green. The green isn't working for me. But that looks pretty natural to me. And we can, I don't think I need the color artifact reduction really. Let's crank that up and see if it doesn't really make. Yeah, you can see, if I zoom in here, you can see what that really is doing. It's got, you know, all these different zones and regions where it has added color. And if I crank that color artifact reduction up, you can see the eyes, it kind of spread out so that it's more of one central color instead of clusters of different colors. And I like the different colors it added into it, even if they're not 100% accurate, like where I would put it if I had painted in color. But I think it works. We can kind of like soften this a little bit if we want to soften it. But I don't know if I want to soften it, because I think it ruins the value of the texture I painted into my piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just say okay. And then what I can do if I want, I've got this new version of my painting, is I could come in here on a blending mode. Let's go ahead and make a new layer, and let's set this to a color layer, and I could kind of paint in manually then too. Like maybe I do like, you know, kind of where this is gone. So if I want to grab some more of this red, and maybe I do want to add some more red into the bottom of the hair to kind of blend that out. Maybe that's something I'll do. Maybe I'll even grab more of a gold color, because I said I wanted to have more gold in his hair, and maybe we start to kind of paint in some more gold vibes. I can slowly do that. You could also probably do a lot of painting and stuff with using the select and mask, especially if you are not working with a stylus. Like, you know, I painted this, so I definitely have a stylus I can work with, but you could use some selection tools and things to maybe get stuff a little more, get those selections to be a little more accurate. We could even turn the fill down so that these colors aren't so totally powerful. Maybe we want to add some more of this red in around his eyes. We could come in and do that. And this is a really great method, I think, because sometimes a lot of the paintings that I do myself, I did paint in black and white, and I just use a color layer to start adding colors. But this would be a great way to add colors a lot quicker than I add colors with just my doing the color layer only. So, you know, a lot of different ways that you can mess with this. I'm wondering if we could actually, I guess doing the eyes, these aren't very detailed eyes, so it might not make sense to just colorize the eyes. But we could probably do a lot more different neural filters with this as well if we wanted to. For example, now that we have this colored, let's go ahead and turn that into a smart object. I bet you we could come in, because I did say experiment with different neural filters. Just as a bonus, we can come in and do like the landscape remixing, which I know landscape remixing is technically for, landscapes, but you could do a landscape remixer and transform it. I don't have this downloaded though, so maybe maybe we shouldn't do it. But the landscape remixer can allow you to transform an image from this is like a nice springtime image into a winter image, and it does really give that vibe. So we could landscape remix a portrait if we wanted to. I don't think that I'll wait for this to download because, I am streaming. We got about a minute left, but sorry I was away doing dishes. Apurva, welcome in. I think this is pretty fun. I can't wait to see what you folks do with your neural filters. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. Experiment with neural filters. Experiment with the Colorize, and if you see something else in there you like, definitely test it out. And don't just test it out on photos. Test it out on graphic art pieces, icons, paintings. Get creative. Think outside the box with these filters. Do whatever you want to do. But yes, I adore you folks. Thank you so much. I love all the energy in the chat. It's been a blast hanging out with you. I hope that you will stick around, however, and chill with Storm and then Pixie Poo, because they are going to be coming up right after me with some more daily creative challenges. It should be pretty fabulous. And then stick around the rest of the day, because there's even more awesome design coming up after the challenges. So I will see you folks again tomorrow morning for challenge number 5. But until then, happy designing. Adios, folks.